Earth is more than a planet we live on. It is a world shaped by time, pressure, fire, and water, slowly sculpted over billions of years. Across its surface, our place is so vast, so remote, and so perfectly formed that they seem almost unreal. From towering mountains and endless deserts to hidden valleys, ancient forests, and landscapes carved by ice and wind. Each of these places tells a story, not just of beauty, but of how our planet works. In this journey, we explore the most remarkable places on Earth, uncover how they were formed, why they exist, where they do, and what makes them unlike anywhere else on the planet. This is not just a tour of beautiful locations. It is a deeper look at the forces that shaped our world. Hallstatt is a lakeside village in the Austrian Alps with a history stretching back over 7,000 years. It became one of Europe's earliest centers of salt mining, a resource so valuable it was once called white gold. The wealth from salt trade shaped an entire prehistoric culture, now known as the Hallstatt culture, which influenced much of Iron Age Europe. Built between steep mountains and a narrow shoreline, the village had so little space that residents created hillside cemeteries and reused graves over generations. Today, Hallstatt is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Near the shores of the Dead Sea stands a solitary acacia tree, one of the only living trees in the area. The Dead Sea is over 9 times saltier than the ocean, making it nearly impossible for most plants to survive. This tree endures by drawing fresh water from a deep underground spring, not from the salty surface. Its presence reveals hidden freshwater sources beneath one of the harshest environments on Earth. Benagil Falls, known as Detian Falls in China, lies on the border between Vietnam and China and is one of the largest transnational waterfalls in the world. Fed by the Kwai Sun River, the falls cascade over tiered limestone cliffs, creating multiple wide curtains of water. The surrounding karst landscape was shaped over millions of years by erosion, forming steep hills and caves. During the rainy season, the river swells, making the falls several times wider and more powerful. Plitvice Lakes National Park in Croatia is famous for its chain of 16 terrace lakes connected by waterfalls. Unlike most lakes, Plitvice is constantly changing. Mineral-rich water deposits travertine, a type of limestone, which slowly builds natural dams between the lakes. Moss, algae, and bacteria help trap calcium carbonate, allowing new barriers to form and old ones to shift over time. This process reshapes the waterfalls year by year, making the landscape alive and evolving. The park protects ancient forests, rare wildlife, and crystal clear water fed by underground springs. A remote archipelago in the North Atlantic. Located between Iceland and Norway, they were formed by volcanic activity around 55 million years ago, creating steep cliffs and layered basalt rock. Powerful winds, heavy rain, and constant ocean waves continue to shape the landscape through erosion. The islands have no native forests, largely due to the harsh climate and centuries of grazing. Despite this, they support large seabird colonies and rich marine life, fed by cold Atlantic currents. Human settlements here rely heavily on fishing and have adapted architecture and infrastructure to withstand extreme weather. Reynisfjara is a volcanic black sand beach on Iceland's southern coast, formed from lava that cooled and shattered into fine basalt grains. The towering hexagonal basalt columns behind the shore were created as lava slowly cooled and cracked into geometric shapes. Just offshore stand the Reynisfjara sea stacks, formed when volcanic cliffs were eroded by powerful Atlantic waves. The beach is known for dangerous sneaker waves, which can surge far up the shore without warning due to steep underwater slopes. Cold ocean currents and constant erosion continue to reshape the coastline year by year. The Northern Lights occurs when charged particles from the sun collide with Earth's atmosphere. These particles are guided toward the poles by Earth's magnetic field. When they strike oxygen and nitrogen gases, they release energy as light. Green auroras come from oxygen at lower altitudes, while red, purple, and blue lights form higher up. Strong solar storms can make auroras visible far beyond the Arctic Circle. The phenomenon happens about 100 to 300 kilometers above Earth's surface. Greenland is the world's largest island and is covered by an ice sheet that holds about 8% of the planet's fresh water. In places, this ice is over 3 kilometers thick and preserves climate records dating back more than 100,000 years. As the ice slowly flows toward the coast, it breaks off into massive icebergs that drift into the North Atlantic. Greenland's melting ice directly affects global sea levels and ocean circulation. Despite extreme cold, the island supports Arctic wildlife and indigenous Inuit communities adapted to the environment. This is a geothermal spa in southwestern Iceland, formed in the 1970s near a geothermal power plant. It exists because mineral-rich wastewater from the plant collects in a lava field and has nowhere to drain. The water's milky blue color comes from silica, algae, and dissolved minerals suspended in the hot water. Temperatures stay between 37 and 40 degrees Celsius year-round. Silica in the water reflects sunlight and can also help soothe certain skin conditions. Angkor Wat is a massive temple complex in Cambodia, constructed in the early 12th century by King Suryavarman II. It was originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu before becoming a Buddhist site. The temple covers over 162 hectares and features intricate bas reliefs depicting mythology, battles, and daily life. Builders used sandstone blocks weighing up to several tons, transported from quarries kilometers away, likely using a system of rivers, sledges, and manpower. Angkor Wat's design aligns with the sun, representing Mount Meru, the center of the universe in Hindu cosmology. The Chocolate Hills are a geological formation in Bohol, Philippines, consisting of over 1,200 conical limestone hills. They were formed from coral deposits and uplifted by tectonic activity millions of years ago. Rain and erosion shaped them into their near-perfect cone shapes, creating a uniform landscape that stretches for kilometers. During the dry season, the grass covering the hills turns brown, giving them their chocolate appearance. Local legends say the hills were created by giants, or by a heartbroken giant's tears. Peyto Lake is located in Banff National Park, Alberta, Canada, and is fed by glaciers in the Canadian Rockies. Its striking turquoise color comes from rock flour, fine glacial silt suspended in the water that reflects sunlight. The lake is shaped like a wolf's head when seen from above, making it one of the most photographed spots in the Rockies. Glacial melt feeds the lake year-round, causing seasonal changes in color and water levels. Surrounding peaks and dense forests create a dramatic backdrop, while the lake itself serves as a natural indicator of glacial retreat and climate change. The Panama Canal connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, cutting thousands of kilometers off sea routes. Construction began in the early 20th century after a failed French attempt and was completed by the United States in 1914. The canal uses a system of locks to lift ships 26 meters above sea level, allowing them to cross the Isthmus of Panama. It handles over 12,000 ships annually, carrying nearly a third of the world's shipping tonnage. Sequoia National Park in California protects massive giant sequoias, including the famous General Sherman tree, the largest living tree by volume. These trees can grow over 85 meters tall and live for more than 3,000 years. Sequoias thrive in the Sierra Nevada mountains, thanks to a unique combination of deep soil, snowmelt, and frequent wildfires, which help open cones and clear space for seedlings. The park also features rugged mountains, deep canyons, and diverse wildlife, including black bears, mule deer, and over 200 bird species. The Great Blue Hole is a massive underwater sinkhole off the coast of Belize, measuring over 300 meters across and 125 meters deep. It formed during the last ice age, when sea levels were lower and this area was dry limestone cave. As glaciers melted and oceans rose, the caves flooded, creating the circular formation seen today. Inside, stalactites and limestone formations remain, preserving clues about ancient sea levels and climate shifts. Niagara Falls straddles the border between Canada and the United States and consists of 3 waterfalls: Horseshoe, American, and Bridal Veil Falls. Every second, over 3,000 tons of water plunge over the cliffs, fed by the Great Lakes. The falls were formed around 12,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age, as melting glaciers carved the landscape. Erosion continues to shape the cliffs, slowly moving the falls upstream at about 30 centimeters per year. The Maasai Mara is a vast savanna in southwestern Kenya, famous for its incredible biodiversity and the annual Great Migration. Over 1 million wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles travel between the Mara and Tanzania's Serengeti in search of fresh grazing. The ecosystem supports apex predators like lions, cheetahs, and leopards, as well as elephants, giraffes, and hippos. The Mara River, cutting through the reserve, is notorious for dramatic crocodile crossings during the migration. The park is named after the Maasai people, who have lived in harmony with the land for centuries, using traditional grazing practices. Petrified Forest National Park in Arizona preserves one of the world's largest collections of fossilized trees. Around 225 million years ago, during the late Triassic period, ancient forests were buried by volcanic ash and sediment. Over time, minerals like silica replaced the organic wood, turning trunks and branches into colorful, crystal-like stone. Some petrified logs are over 30 meters long and still retain the texture of bark. The park also contains ancient fossils, petroglyphs, and archaeological sites, showing both natural and human history. The Waitomo glowworm caves are home to the species Arachnocampa luminosa, a glowworm found only in New Zealand. These larvae emit bioluminescent light to attract prey, creating a starry sky effect along cave ceilings. The caves themselves were formed over millions of years as underground rivers dissolved limestone, creating tunnels, chambers, and stalactites. Visitors float silently on boats to witness the glowing ceiling reflected in the dark water below. The glowworm's light is chemical, produced by a reaction between luciferin and oxygen, allowing them to survive and feed in complete darkness. Grand Prismatic Spring in Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming, is the largest hot spring in the United States and the third largest in the world. Its vibrant colors, reds, oranges, yellows, and greens, come from heat-loving bacteria called thermophiles that thrive in different temperature zones. The center of the spring is deep blue, heated to nearly 87 degrees Celsius, 189 degrees Fahrenheit, where few organisms can survive. The spring is fed by geothermal activity, part of Yellowstone's massive volcanic system beneath the park. Mineral-rich water flows outward, depositing silica and creating the unique, colorful terraces around the spring. Off the southwest coast of Mauritius, an optical illusion makes it look like there's an underwater waterfall. It happens where sand, silt, and sediment from the shallow reef slope dramatically into the deep ocean. Strong ocean currents carry these sediments down the steep drop-off, creating the appearance of cascading water beneath the surface. From above, the deep blue of the ocean contrasts with lighter sandy areas, enhancing the effect. Despite being called a waterfall, it's entirely underwater, driven by gravity and ocean currents rather than falling water. Death Valley is a desert in eastern California, reaching temperatures over 56 degrees Celsius, 134 degrees Fahrenheit, making it the hottest place in North America. It's also the lowest point in the continent, with Badwater Basin sitting 86 meters below sea level. The valley is shaped by tectonic activity, erosion, and ancient lakes that dried up over millennia. Despite extreme heat and arid conditions, it hosts unique wildlife like desert bighorn sheep, coyotes, and hardy plants adapted to survive here. Pura Luhur Uluwatu is a Balinese Hindu temple sitting atop a 70-meter-high cliff overlooking the Indian Ocean. Built in the 11th century, it is dedicated to the spirits of the sea and is one of Bali's 6 key directional temples. The temple's location provides protection from evil spirits, according to local beliefs, while offering breathtaking ocean views. Uluwatu is also famous for its traditional Kechak fire dance, performed at sunset against the cliffside backdrop. The temple grounds are home to long-tailed macaques, who are both revered and mischievous, sometimes snatching visitors' belongings. The Marble Caves, or Cuevas de Marmol, are located in Patagonia on General Carrera Lake, Chile. Over thousands of years, waves from the turquoise glacial lake eroded the calcium carbonate rock, creating swirling marble walls, arches, and tunnels. The lake's mineral-rich water gives the caves their stunning blue reflections, which change with the seasons and weather. The caves are only accessible by boat, making every visit a journey through living geology. Despite their fragile beauty, the formations continue to evolve, sculpted slowly by water, ice, and time. Lake Baikal in Siberia is over 25 million years old and reaches a depth of 1,642 meters, making it the deepest lake on Earth. It holds around 20% of the planet's unfrozen freshwater, more than all the North American Great Lakes combined. The lake is home to thousands of unique species, including the Baikal seal, the only freshwater seal in the world. Its clear waters allow visibility up to 40 meters in winter, and the ice forms spectacular patterns and fissures. The Quilotoa Loop is a scenic route in Ecuador's Andes Mountains, centered around the Quilotoa volcanic crater. The crater formed about 800 years ago, after a massive eruption caused the volcano to collapse inward. Inside the caldera lies a striking turquoise lake, colored by dissolved volcanic minerals. The lake has no visible outlet, meaning its water level is controlled by rainfall, evaporation, and underground seepage. Surrounding the crater are indigenous villages, connected by trails used for centuries. The Wave is a sandstone rock formation located in the Coyote Buttes area along the Arizona-Utah border. It was formed over 190 million years ago from sand dunes that hardened into rock. Wind, rain, and erosion slowly carved the sandstone into its smooth, wave-like curves. The red, orange, and yellow stripes come from layers of iron oxide deposited over time. Because the rock is extremely fragile, access is limited to a small number of visitors per day. The Lofoten Islands are an archipelago in northern Norway, located above the Arctic Circle. Despite their latitude, the islands have a surprisingly mild climate due to the warm Gulf Stream. The landscape was shaped by ancient tectonic forces and later carved by glaciers, creating sharp peaks, fjords, and deep bays. The surrounding waters are rich in nutrients, supporting one of the world's largest cod fisheries for over 1,000 years. In winter, the islands experience polar night and frequent northern lights, while summer brings the midnight sun. Crater Lake is the deepest lake in the United States, reaching a depth of about 594 meters. It formed around 7,700 years ago, when Mount Mazama erupted and collapsed inward, creating a massive caldera. The lake has no rivers flowing in or out, and is fed entirely by rain and snow. This isolation makes Crater Lake one of the clearest lakes on Earth, with deep blue color and exceptional water clarity. A volcanic cinder cone later formed Wizard Island inside the lake. Neuschwanstein Castle was built in the 19th century by King Ludwig II of Bavaria as a personal retreat. Unlike medieval castles, it was never meant for defense, but for fantasy, art, and solitude. The design draws inspiration from German legends, operas by Richard Wagner, and romantic medieval architecture. Despite its ancient appearance, the castle featured modern technology for its time, including central heating and running water. King Ludwig II died before construction was completed, and he lived in the castle for only a short time. Stuðlagil Canyon is located in eastern Iceland and is famous for its towering basalt columns lining a glacial river. These hexagonal columns formed thousands of years ago when lava cooled slowly and cracked into geometric shapes. For most of history, the canyon was submerged beneath a powerful river. In the early 2000s, construction of a hydroelectric dam reduced the water flow, revealing the canyon's dramatic structure. The river's striking turquoise color comes from glacial minerals suspended in the water. The Trulli of Alberobello are traditional limestone houses found in southern Italy dating back to the 14th century. They are built using dry stone construction, meaning the stones are stacked without mortar. This design allowed the structures to be quickly dismantled to avoid property taxes imposed by ruling authorities. The thick walls provide natural insulation, keeping interiors cool in summer and warm in winter. Many truly feature symbolic markings painted on their cone-shaped roofs, linked to religion or folklore. Horseshoe Bend is a dramatic meander of the Colorado River located near Page, Arizona. Over millions of years, the river carved this deep curve into layers of sandstone and limestone through erosion. The bend drops nearly 300 meters from the rim to the river below. As the Colorado River slowly cut downward, the surrounding plateau was uplifted, allowing the river to carve steep canyon walls. The surrounding desert climate preserves the shape by limiting vegetation and soil movement. Moria is a volcanic island in French Polynesia, located just northwest of Tahiti. It formed millions of years ago from volcanic activity, creating jagged peaks and deep bays. Over time, coral reefs grew around the island, forming a protective barrier lagoon. The lagoon supports rich marine life, including rays, sharks, and colorful reef fish. Moria's interior features steep mountains and fertile valleys shaped by erosion and rainfall. Ha Long Bay is located in northern Vietnam and contains over 1,600 limestone islands and pillars. These formations were created over 500 million years through erosion of limestone by water and weather. Rain, waves, and chemical dissolution carved caves, arches, and steep cliffs. Many of the islands are topped with forests, while hidden lagoons and caves lie inside the rock. The bay's calm waters support rich marine ecosystems and floating fishing villages. Varanasi is located on the banks of the Ganges River and has been continuously inhabited for over 3,000 years. It is considered the spiritual heart of Hinduism, where millions come to perform rituals and cremation ceremonies, Hindus believe. Dying here brings liberation from the cycle of rebirth. The city's stone ghats step down to the river, serving as places for bathing, prayer, and daily life. At sunrise and sunset, rituals and fire ceremonies light the riverbanks. The Serengeti is a vast savanna ecosystem in northern Tanzania, spanning over 14,000 square kilometers. It is world famous for the Great Migration, where over 1 million wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles travel between the Serengeti and Kenya's Maasai Mara. The region supports apex predators like lions, cheetahs, and hyenas, alongside elephants, giraffes, and hippos. Grasslands, woodlands, and rivers create diverse habitats, sustaining both large and small species. The Serengeti has remained largely untouched by agriculture, preserving ancient predator-prey dynamics and natural ecological processes. Lake Bled is a glacial lake in northwestern Slovenia, known for its emerald green waters and picturesque island. On the island sits the Church of the Assumption, accessible by traditional wooden boats, called Pletna. The lake is surrounded by the Julian Alps, which feed it with mountain streams and create dramatic reflections. Bled Castle, perched on a cliff above the lake, dates back to the 11th century and overlooks the valley. The lake was formed during the last ice age and has been a site of human settlement and recreation for centuries. The Drina River House sits perched on a small rock in the middle of the Drina River, near the town of Bajina Bashta. It was first built in 1968 by local residents as a fisherman's shelter and has been rebuilt several times due to floods. The house is accessible only by boat. Its remote location means it survives the river's strong currents and seasonal floods, standing firm against nature. Whitehaven Beach is located on Whitsunday Island in the heart of the Great Barrier Reef. Its sand is 98% pure silica, giving it a brilliant white color and a soft, powdery texture. The beach stretches for 7 kilometers, with no commercial development, preserving its natural beauty. The silica sand reflects sunlight, keeping it cool underfoot even on hot days. Tides and winds naturally swirl the sand in turquoise water, creating stunning patterns visible from above. Nusa Penida is a rugged island southeast of Bali, Indonesia, known for its dramatic coastal cliffs and turquoise waters. The island was formed by volcanic activity, creating steep limestone formations and caves along its shores. Kelingking Beach, with its T-Rex-shaped cliff, and Angel's Billabong, a natural infinity pool, are among its iconic sites. The surrounding coral reefs support manta rays, tropical fish, and vibrant marine life, making it a snorkeling hotspot. Nusa Penida remains less developed than Bali, preserving its raw natural beauty and traditional villages. Kelingking Beach is a famous viewpoint on Nusa Penida Island, overlooking a secluded white sand beach. The dramatic cliffs were formed by volcanic activity and millions of years of erosion, giving them their unique T-Rex shape. Reaching the beach requires a steep hike down a narrow, rugged trail, making it one of the most challenging yet rewarding beaches in the world. The turquoise waters and coral reefs below are ideal for snorkeling and marine exploration. The Corinth Canal connects the Aegean Sea to the Ionian Sea, cutting through the Isthmus of Corinth. It is only 21 meters wide and 6.3 kilometers long, forcing ships to pass single file. Construction began in ancient times, but wasn't completed until 1893, using modern engineering techniques of the 19th century. The canal saves ships around 400 kilometers of travel around the Peloponnese Peninsula. Its steep limestone walls rise nearly 80 meters above the water, making navigation both stunning and challenging. The cliffs of Moher stretch for 14 kilometers along Ireland's west coast, reaching heights of 214 meters at their tallest point. They are composed mainly of sandstone and shale, formed over 300 million years. During the Carboniferous period, wind, waves, and rain continue to shape the cliffs, carving caves and ledges along the sheer rock faces. The cliffs are home to more than 20 seabird species, including puffins, guillemots, and razorbills. Visitors are treated to panoramic views of the Atlantic Ocean, the Aran Islands, and even Galway Bay on clear days. The Burj Khalifa soars 828 meters into the sky, making it the tallest man-made structure in the world. Construction began in 2004 and was completed in 2010, using over 330,000 cubic meters of concrete and 103,000 square meters of glass. Its design, inspired by the desert flower Hymenocallis, helps reduce wind loads and improve stability. The building houses offices, luxury residences, a hotel, and the highest observation deck on the planet. Elevators travel at 10 meters per second, taking just over a minute to reach the top. Yosemite National Park in California is famous for its massive granite cliffs, waterfalls, and giant sequoias. The iconic El Capitan and Half Dome were shaped by glaciers during the last ice age, carving sheer rock faces over millions of years. Yosemite Falls, one of the tallest waterfalls in North America, plunges 739 meters from the high cliffs. The park protects diverse ecosystems, from valley floors to alpine meadows, home to black bears, bobcats, and over 250 bird species. Diamond Beach is located near Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon in southeast Iceland. Icebergs calve from Breiðamerkurjökull Glacier, drift to the Atlantic, and wash up on the shore, creating sparkling ice diamonds on the black volcanic sand. The contrast between black sand and crystal clear ice makes the beach visually stunning year-round. Waves and tides constantly reshape the ice, meaning no two visits look the same. The beach is also a window into glacial processes, showing how ice flows, breaks off, and interacts with the ocean. Benagil Cave is located on the Algarve coast of Portugal and is famous for its massive dome and circular skylight. The cave was formed over thousands of years as waves and wind eroded the limestone cliffs, creating tunnels and chambers. The iconic hole at the top lets sunlight pour in, illuminating the sandy beach inside and creating a natural spotlight. Visitors usually access it by boat, kayak, or even swimming, making the experience both adventurous and breathtaking. The Mir Mine in Siberia is one of the largest diamond mines in the world. It's an open pit mine over 525 meters deep and 1,200 meters wide, created by blasting through kimberlite rock. The mine was discovered in 1955 during Soviet geological surveys and became a major source of industrial and gem-quality diamonds. Mount Bromo is an active volcano in East Java, Indonesia, part of the Tengger Semeru National Park. It sits within a vast plain called the Sea of Sand, a volcanic desert formed by eruptions and ash deposits. The volcano rises 2,329 meters, and its crater emits smoke and steam, a reminder of its ongoing activity. Mount Bromo is sacred to the Tengerese people, who perform the annual Yadnya Kasada festival, offering crops and livestock into the crater. The Ice Hotel is located in Jukkasjärvi, northern Sweden, and is constructed from river ice and snow each winter. Rooms, furniture, and even the bar are sculpted from ice, with unique artistic designs created by international artists. Despite being made of ice, the hotel is kept at around -5 degrees Celsius, 23 degrees Fahrenheit, to maintain its structure. Guests sleep on reindeer hides over ice beds and experience a one-of-a-kind Arctic stay. Each spring, the hotel melts back into the Torny River and a new version is rebuilt. Torres del Paine National Park is located in Patagonia, southern Chile, and spans over 2,400 square kilometers. The park is famous for its jagged granite peaks, called the Torres, carved by glaciers over millions of years. It contains massive glaciers, including Gray Glacier, and vibrant lakes, like Peyto and Nordenskjöld, colored by glacial minerals. The park is home to diverse wildlife, such as guanacos, Andean condors, pumas, and foxes. Torres del Paine is a hiker's paradise, with trails like the W and O circuits offering views of mountains, ice fields, and rivers. Raja Ampat is an archipelago in West Papua, Indonesia, consisting of over 1,500 small islands and cays. It sits in the heart of the Coral Triangle, hosting the richest marine biodiversity on Earth, including hundreds of coral species and thousands of fish species. The islands were formed by tectonic activity, creating dramatic limestone cliffs, hidden lagoons, and pristine beaches. Raja Ampat's reefs are a hotspot for scuba diving, featuring manta rays, sharks, and vibrant coral gardens. The area is home to indigenous communities who live sustainably and preserve traditional fishing practices. The Leshan giant Buddha sits at the confluence of the Min, Dadu, and Chingi rivers in Sichuan province. Construction began in 713 AD during the Tang dynasty and took about 90 years to complete. carved directly into a red sandstone cliff, it remains the largest stone Buddha statue in the world. The Buddha's design includes a clever drainage system to prevent erosion, allowing it to survive over a millennium. Seongsan Ilchulbong, also called Sunrise Peak, is a tough cone on Jeju Island, formed over 5,000 years ago by volcanic activity. It rises 182 meters above sea level and features a perfectly circular crater at the top. The crater was created when magma erupted through shallow seawater, causing an explosive reaction that shaped the peak. Grassy slopes, sharp cliffs, and panoramic ocean views make it a popular spot for sunrise hiking. Jellyfish Lake is a marine lake on Alemalk Island in Palau, home to millions of golden jellyfish, Mastigias, Papua, et Paisoni. The lake was formed thousands of years ago when rising sea levels trapped seawater behind limestone walls. Without natural predators, the jellyfish population thrived, evolving a daily migration following the sun to maximize photosynthesis in their symbiotic algae. The lake is slightly salty and oxygen-rich, creating a unique ecosystem unlike anywhere else on Earth. Snorkelers can swim among the jellyfish, which are mostly harmless and provide a surreal, otherworldly experience. Pamukkale, meaning cotton castle in Turkish, is famous for its terraces of white mineral-rich travertine. Hot springs flowing down the mountains deposit calcium carbonate, which hardens into the gleaming terraces over thousands of years. The thermal waters have been used for bathing since ancient times, believed to have healing properties. Pamukkale is adjacent to the ancient city of Hierapolis, combining natural wonder with historical significance. The terraces reflect sunlight in dazzling white, contrasting with turquoise pools, creating one of the world's most photographed landscapes. Preikestolen, also called Pulpit Rock, overlooks the Lysefjord in southwestern Norway. The flat cliff was formed around 10,000 years ago by glacial activity, as melting glaciers fractured the rock and carved the fjord below. It measures roughly 25 by 25 meters at the top, providing a dramatic vantage point over turquoise waters. The hike to the cliff takes 2 to 3 hours and offers panoramic views of forests, rivers, and mountain landscapes. Preikestolen is one of Norway's most visited natural landmarks, attracting hikers and photographers from around the world. Covão dos Conchos is located in the Serra da Estrela Mountains of Portugal and is actually a spillway, built in 1955 to divert water for a hydroelectric project. The water pours through a perfectly circular tunnel, creating the illusion of a natural waterfall dropping into a hidden abyss. The tunnel measures about 4 meters in diameter, and the surrounding lake feeds it with clear mountain water. Though man-made, the structure blends seamlessly with nature, giving it a surreal and magical appearance. The White Desert, located in Egypt's western desert, is famous for its surreal white rock formations. Over millions of years, wind and sand eroded the chalk and limestone, carving mushrooms, towers, and abstract shapes. The contrast between the white formations and the golden sand makes the landscape look otherworldly. Some formations resemble animals or people, creating natural sculptures shaped by nature alone. Icebergs are chunks of freshwater ice that break off glaciers or ice shelves and float in the ocean. Only about 10% of an iceberg is visible above water. The rest remains submerged, giving the phrase, tip of the iceberg. They can reach enormous sizes, some larger than skyscrapers, and drift with ocean currents for months or even years. Icebergs are shaped by melting, cracking, and ocean erosion, constantly changing form as they float. Polar ecosystems rely on icebergs, as melting ice provides cold, nutrient-rich water that supports plankton, fish, and marine life. Huacachina is a small village built around a natural desert oasis in southwestern Peru. The lagoon was formed from underground aquifers and is fed by a small natural spring. Towering sand dunes surrounding the oasis reach over 100 meters high, attracting sandboarders and adventure tourists. Huacachina has been a retreat for locals and travelers since the early 20th century, famous for its picturesque sunsets. The Bay of Kotor is a winding bay on Montenegro's Adriatic coast, often mistaken for a fjord. Unlike true fjords, it was formed by a submerged river canyon, later flooded by rising sea levels. Steep limestone mountains rise directly from the water, creating dramatic scenery and natural protection. The medieval town of Kotor sits at the bay's end, surrounded by ancient walls and fortifications. For centuries, the bay was a strategic naval and trading hub due to its calm, sheltered waters. The Temple of Artemis once stood in the ancient city of Ephesus in modern-day Turkey. Built around 550 BCE, it was one of the largest temples of the ancient world, supported by over 120 marble columns. The temple was destroyed and rebuilt multiple times due to fires, floods, and invasions. In 356 BCE, it was famously burned by a man seeking immortality through fame. Bryce Canyon National Park is located in southern Utah and is famous for its hoodoos, tall, thin rock formations. These hoodoos formed over millions of years as rain, snow, and freezing temperatures fractured limestone and sandstone. The park sits at high elevation, causing frequent freeze-thaw cycles that speed up erosion. Iron oxide gives the rocks their red and orange colors, while limestone adds pale tones. Bryce Canyon is also one of the darkest night sky parks in the United States, ideal for stargazing. Lauterbrunnen Valley is located in the Swiss Alps and is famous for its sheer cliffs and cascading waterfalls. The valley was carved by glaciers during the last ice age, creating steep rock walls over 300 meters high. Snowmelt from surrounding mountains feeds waterfalls like Stuðlagil Falls, which plunges nearly 300 meters. The flat valley floor contrasts sharply with the vertical cliffs, creating dramatic scenery. Lauterbrunnen inspired writers and artists, including J.R.R. Tolkien's depiction of Rivendell. Sequoia Waterfall is a group of powerful cascades hidden deep in northern Bali. Fed by mountain rivers, the waterfalls plunge from heights of over 80 meters into a lush jungle valley. The name Sekumpul means group, referring to the multiple streams flowing side by side. Reaching the falls requires a trek through forests, rivers, and steep paths, adding to their untouched feel. Mist from the falls supports dense tropical vegetation and creates a cool microclimate. The Landwasser Viaduct is a 6-arched limestone railway bridge in the Swiss Alps, completed in 1902. It spans 65 meters above the Landwasser River and curves directly into a tunnel carved into the cliff. The viaduct was built without steel supports, relying entirely on stone masonry and precise engineering. It is part of the UNESCO-listed Reynisfjara Railway, famous for its dramatic alpine routes. Trains cross the bridge multiple times a day, offering one of the most iconic rail views in the world. Arashiyama Bamboo Forest is located on the outskirts of Kyoto, Japan. Towering bamboo stalks can grow over 20 meters tall and sway together in the wind. Bamboo grows extremely fast, sometimes up to 1 meter per day under ideal conditions. The forest has been protected for centuries and is considered a cultural and spiritual landscape. The Skeleton Coast stretches along Namibia's Atlantic shoreline for over 500 kilometers. Cold currents from the Benagil Current create dense fog, making navigation extremely dangerous. Over centuries, countless ships ran aground here, leaving wrecks scattered along the coast. Towering sand dunes roll directly into the ocean, creating one of the harshest landscapes on Earth.